mentioned the unforced errors, the struggles in possession. Just how much of that would you attribute to just the environment? Cincinnati's just one of those places, and how much of a learning experience can that be, especially given that you're such a young team?
Look, they have good fans. They have a nice situation here. The supporters get behind their team. Um, of course, we're human beings out there, and it could be intimidating, I'm sure. But I won't use as an excuse, right? We have to be better. So we went to Miami, tough place to play. Seattle, Salt Lake. There's a list of tough places we've gone to, um, and have looked unfazed in moments. So I will credit the beautiful atmosphere tonight for football. One that I would think our players love to play in front of, but certainly Cincinnati, the players got behind the team. The fans get behind the team, and the team gave them some things to cheer about. And of course, they make it hard, but they don't make the decisions for us. They don't say go here, go here. So we'll put that on us. We know we could be better on the night. We all know we could be better. All of us are in on it, and we will get better.
Chris, last one for me. Both of the goals a little bit in transition.
Hey, you heard Chris Armas there at the top of the show, and I agree. That was an electric FC Cincinnati match, and I don't know if it was the perfect weather or the quality soccer, but there was just a sweet vibe around TQL Stadium on Saturday, and it's got me itching to go back. I'm sure 3 points had absolutely nothing to do with it, but a whole bunch of news out there in FCC land this week. We've got reinforcements arriving, injuries both coming and going, and an FC Cincinnati 2 Philly beatdown that I'm kind of excited to talk about a little bit. Really exciting show overall, though, to hop into. I'm Boston Brazel, your CST host tonight, coming back after a small vacation break. I hope you enjoyed that treat last week. And don't worry, Bryan is still here tonight. We'll get to him here in a little bit. But first, let's welcome in our cast. And we'll start with you, Jason. Welcome into the show.
Oh, hey. Good to be back. Good to be coming off of a winning streak for once. It feels like it's been forever. So great to be with you guys tonight.
Yeah, man. Good to have you. Hope you're excited about 2 wins in a row. I'm actually a little bit surprised that our next host is here. He usually only joins me after a loss, so I think he's gotten lost along his way. Mr. Lance, how you doing, sir?
What's going on? I come in for wins. It's fun to get mad, but it's also fun to actually enjoy what you watched over the weekend.
Yeah, it's in and out. No, I swear it just seemed to have been that trend this year. The little bit the little bit of the concerning podcast. You got those early season concerning ones. You were hopping on. You were bouncing. And
I do that. I do that every week. I'm just bouncing around regardless.
Well, I'm not sure if Bryan's ready for us or not. If he is, I'll let him pop in here. And all right, Bryan, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for hosting for me last week.
Oh, hey, I'm almost hosting right now, trying to get the screens all looking good.
Yeah. Where are we at tonight? I know we're on Facebook and YouTube. Where else?
Well, we're residing at Bryan Weigel on Twitter because good old Elon. I made a joke about his rockets blowing up, and he's just banishing us to ex-purgatory. So yeah, doing good. Got to take all the kids and got to hang out with a couple of my club soccer kids at the game this week. Heard a couple other ones were yelling some of my keywords I teach them every week. So I was proud of that moment.
Swear words?
Yeah. Okay, listen to this. I got yelled at by like a 12-year-old referee this weekend by saying, I'm sitting down there. I'm like, crap. Dude, I swear I got yelled at for saying, oh, crap. I was like, you got
that's wow.
Gotta be kidding me.
Running a tight ship over there at the youth soccer, huh?
These 12-year-olds, they get a little sense of power and they just try to run it. And I said, hey, man, you guys don't even know the substitutions rule, and you're supposed to be calling offside, and you're staying around with me the whole time. So let's pump the brakes on your whole we're in charge kind of thing.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. I tell you what, this was the week I got hit up the most for tickets. And I heard there was a bunch of youth clubs in town. I'm not sure if that had anything to do
Big
with
tournament.
it. Oh, yeah. Everybody and their mother wanted to be at TQL Stadium. Weather was gorgeous, and you could feel it. You could feel it in the crowd there. All right. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor at the top of the show. You know him. You love him. Apollo Home. We are officially sponsored in 2024 and 2023. Give them a call if you have any HVAC, plumbing, or electrical needs. Quick and easy this week. Just give them a call or book online at apollohome.com. All right. That was a fun one. So you might have trouble coming up with your worst, but I want to hear it anyway. Brian, we'll go to you. Your best and worst.
Oh man, I think my best of the week was Pavel Buka. Just being able to starting to pick some passes out, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later. But I thought he was a little bit more free flowing, took a little bit more initiative in the midfield. So I was very excited to see that, especially versus a team that really didn't get out and try to possess the game. They were comfortable, conceding some space. So I was very happy to see him. And every week, I think it's a broken record now. He just gets incrementally better. And we're starting to see why he was brought in versus Junior Moreno. So I'm sure he's going to have a regression at some point and do stupid things here and there, but overall pretty happy. My worst of the week is, God, I don't know if I have one. I think just
it's a tough one. It is
Kubo,
a tough one.
Maybe Kubo. I didn't read any of your guys, so I'd say Kubo having like a 1.0 or 1.2 xG and not getting any goals. I think that was unfortunate. But yeah, I was also right there, perfect line, seeing Corey Baird's first shot that was like the wide open goal in the first half, curler, and just crossbar challenged the hell out of that shot. So I think everybody's just like, what the hell? Why couldn't you put it in goal? But yeah, that's a pretty cool angle seeing that. But yeah, hey, props to Corey getting off the Schneid this week.
I don't know what you're talking about. I saw a Kubo goal. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I just didn't put a 3 up on the board next to it. All right, Jason, welcome in.
All right. My best of the week, I'm going to go with Brett Halsey being asked to come in. It sucks that Yedlin went down. I think that's one of your all's worst of the week. But
thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. But, to be asked to come in with 75 minutes or something left in the match. And not only did he come in, but we talked about this earlier in the season about how the team did not want to steer to the right quite a bit. And until Yedlin kind of ingratiated himself to the club. But they were going to Halsey, and he acquitted himself well throughout the match. And I think, if he can keep that up, that's always a good sign that you have somebody that can come in off the bench and give you solid minutes and actually, be dangerous. Of course, it wasn't the most dangerous opponent, but then again, you take anything you can get. So he was my best. My worst was Lucho's hair.
Whoa.
Whoever told him he was okay to leave the house like that. It reminded me of the Weird Al Yankovic album cover, The Bad Hair Day, the one that had Amish Paradise on it.
Yeah.
Reminded me a little bit of that.
It was a playoff of Coolio's hair.
Yeah, which, fun story. When I was a sophomore in high school, because I wanted to look like Brian McBride, I grew my hair out.
Okay.
And
choice.
I have very thick hair, so it actually came out more of like a mushroom head. It looked awful. So the day before I had it cut, some girls in my class said they were going to give me cornrows, and it basically just turned into Coolio hair. It was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
I really hope there's pictures of this.
There probably are somewhere in this closet over here. It was bad. So.
What we do when a girl asks us to do it, man. Holy cow.
They're like, you're getting it cut tomorrow. Can we put it in cornrows? I was like, sure.
I don't know. I don't know if I was hating on the hair. I think
14-year-old white kid from the sticks. That's a great look for me.
It gave me made me think summer's here, Argentinian spring summer vibe.
Lucho has been Mr. Hairstyle though this season. I mean, preseason he had the pink hair.
Yeah.
Then it was blonde. Then he had like that slick back Ben Roethlisberger loogie look. and then now he's got the cornrows.
He met Corbin Bone and Corbin Bone's wife. That's what's happened, and they've all become friends with the Bone family and getting the wacky hairstyles. It's my theory. I'm gonna put that out there in the universe. See if I get a hit. Any takers. And let's see. Let's throw it to you, Mr. Lance. Now that your worst is gone.
Yeah, now my worst is gone. So, spoiler alert: Yedlin got hurt, and that was bad. He had to leave the game. But did anyone actually see him go down? I was in the stadium, and next thing I know, I hear them making the substitution. I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
He it's after he got absolutely decleated on that right flank, and there was no foul. I couldn't. I mean,
I do
it was
remember
a
that
crunch. It was a crunch, and this ref let them play all night.
Oh yeah, it was prison
very
yard
physical.
rules.
Prison yard rules, and you can tell. I mean, he was choking up, and then there was another play like 2-3 minutes after where he had to make a couple long runs down that right side, and then basically he's just like he turned to Pat and he's like, "Yeah, I'm throwing that white flag here. I'm done." So
that was my worst because obviously, he's been so integral ever since he's come to the club. He's fit in so well and made great impact, but he is a guy at an age where injuries are not so quickly, even minor ones, not so quickly recovered from. And then you can start get these lingering things that last. So we just got to hope, that's the last thing anybody needs right now, but that's the last thing this club needs right now is an injury. Though I will say you're right. Halsey comes in and there was really not a drop in production from that position. My best though, you've already mentioned it. Corey Baird finally getting off the schneid, breaking his duck, whatever you want to call it. He finally did it after he should have done it there in the first half with the one. Why did he rush that shot? The whole goal to himself. Nobody really right next to him. He could have just babied that thing in.
The yips.
But he scored a nice one. I mean, he just kind of chips it over the keeper. A nice little cheeky one, makes a great run. We'll talk about this as we go on, but like the attack was just creating so much and the forwards were getting down there and it looked so good. And so to see him finally cash in with things working well, because that was a real frustrating thing. It's not like he was just, going. I mean, he was going through periods where he was a bit of a ghost, but he was getting chances and getting opportunities all this time and just not cashing them in. So I'm just happy for him. I hope that this means that it is the floodgates will open now and he will start just banging them in. We shall see.
That celebration looked like the man that's gone through a drought and was very, very excited to nail one.
I used when I tweeted about his goal, I used the gift from Shawshank of
the guy with the rain.
With the rain, and he's just got his arms open. Just finally freed him.
I like that for his first goal, he just decided to make score a really hard chip. Like he didn't get a tap in, didn't have a wide open net. I'm going to chip the keeper, which is one of the harder things to do.
Yeah, passed on the easy putt and went for the out of the sand bunker.
Yeah, exactly.
Chipping from close range as he's barreled, kind of bearing down on him. That was I was on the opposite end. I had to go back and watch the replay several times and just enjoy that one because from my seats, I had no idea what was happening.
People around me were in disbelief. They wouldn't believe it till he said, "Baird, Corey Baird." Like, what? No way.
I mean, I thought it was like last week when the announcers just got it wrong. If you watched the broadcast, the announcers thought that Orishano's goal was Baird.
I'm going to take credit for that because that was a classic Jason takes his bathroom break in FC Cincinnati scores situation, which seems to happen quite a bit. So if we go on a playoff run, I'm just going to listen to it from the bathroom in TQL Stadium.
Before I turn the page, we got to get to some of everybody's best and worst. Over here, Roops on Facebook said his best is offense clicking and his worst seeing our own Jeremy Lance at the Symphony. So, guess you're not very popular out there and about. Were you getting your culture on?
No, the Symphony Inn. That's where the Norden has their.
Here I am thinking you two.
Been to a match it?
Jeremy's up there like watching some Vivaldi with his little glasses.
Yeah, I could see.
Oh yeah, top hat, monocle,
hanging out,
top hat and tails there. Yeah,
opera glasses.
More importantly, that was definitely also Rupesh, right? That's something he's doing as well.
Oh man, I've even been there. Wild. All right. Jose said best. Corey Baird finally scoring. Worst yellow card against Miazga, which doesn't seem to be deserved. Yeah, he seems to get himself in some tiffs.
He was right in the ref's face there. Even I'm just like, Matt, shut up. And then like
I was like, this
10
guy's
minutes
not making
later,
it for the match.
10 minutes later, he had his arm. I couldn't believe it wasn't VAR, and you know I was kind of far away, so I didn't see it perfectly. But I thought he had like took his arm and like dragged that guy back with his like back of his shoulder, and the guy went down. I'm like, oh, Matt's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's got those like 10-15 minute spans where he just can't control himself. Very frustrating.
I think what it was is he had just yelled at the ref like a minute earlier about a different play, and you can't go back to back that fast, in my opinion. Wolfster saying best. Everyone is gelling. Worst. What do we do with Dado? Did you see my plans for tonight, Wolf? We're gonna
get
get
the rundown. Someone gave him the rundown.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Stay tuned. Jay, best. One of our one touch passing was on point. Nice to see quickness on the attack. Jay's worst. Our one touch shooting still needs lots of work. Wasting chances, messing around with the ball too much. You know, Jay, we've had that talk before. We only go for those perfect goals, or in Corey Baird's chip goals. Then we'll add that to the list, but we don't mess around with those crazy things. We're only going to go once we've tricked and nutmegged every single player on the team. Got the goalie to dive the wrong way, then we'll do the tap in. That's the FCC way right there. Somebody countering Jason here saying he's not impressed with Halsey. We'll go there first in a minute. My best is getting back in time for the match. I had a flight on Saturday back to town. That's always nerve-wracking when you're trying to make sure the pilots. I was trying to usher everybody in Florida onto the plane. I was like, "Come on, people, let's move down the thing. Boston's gonna get to the game." But there were a lot of other FCC fans. I saw people wearing their FCC jerseys and their polos in Florida. A lot of fans coming back in time, so that was cool to see. Got to talk to a couple people. So, just in case anyone's listening to the show, it was nice to see you in another state representing. And my worst is going to be the Acosta red card situation. Boy. I hope my best next week is that he did not get one, because if he does, he misses the Hell is Real game. And I am nervous. I'm really nervous, but here's a crazy worst. I am mad that Acosta did not get a yellow card in this match, because I would much rather him miss the next game, and I don't have any faith he can get through that. I don't have
weird logic, but I get you. I get you there. Okay. If you're gonna get one, it was better. Okay.
It's weird logic. You either have to have my logic, or you have to believe Acosta can go 2 in a row.
Is it 2 in a row and you get one taken away?
No, he just wouldn't be suspended if he goes another game cleanly. But that's a lot to ask for a young guy that plays with passion and fervor. But
and
all right,
cool hair.
I said we'll get to it next. Brett Halsey, I think this is a cool topic. When Yedlin goes down that early in the game, there is no plan for Halsey to play 70 minutes. And if you're Pat Noonan, I don't think you really change what you were going in against Colorado to do. So I guess my question to you guys is, Halsey gets thrown out there. I in the first 2 minutes, he made some nervy looking passes. He was not exactly running to where he should be right off the bat. But as the game went on, I thought he settled in nicely. I wanted to hear your takes. Jason, you already gave yours, so we'll go to Mr. Lance. Overall, yay or nay? We've heard one yay and one nay.
I think he was fine. Was I expecting him to come in and change the game? No. But I needed him to just hold serve, and he did. He did that just fine, and he stepped in. And for someone his age and his lack of experience to come in and take over for someone who has the resume that Yedlin did, and to not have that much of a drop-off. I know some people are saying there was a big drop-off. I didn't feel it. I didn't see it. I thought it was fine. I thought he did great. For what he needed to do, for having an injury happening that early. I mean, that can derail you in a match, losing a starter that early in a match, and it didn't. So I disagree. I think he did great.
Well, I think the true testament is Colorado didn't just start beating the ball down his side, crushing everybody in their path, and then
Right.
whipping balls in that direction. Right, and that's probably the biggest testament to Halsey's impact. Now, was he as offensive as Yedlin? No, I don't think so. Or how Yedlin would have been? Probably not.
Well, and I think some of that is also comes down to the other players on the field having a trust with Yedlin and a trust with Halsey that are different, right? I thought the commentator last week, despite not knowing who actually scored some of our goals, made a great point by the fact that of how right when Yedlin came in, immediately Lucho trusted him and would ping those far passes right to the touchline. And with Halsey, you obviously don't have that right away where they're just trusting him to switch fields like that for them. So I think some of the he didn't do this, he didn't do that also comes with him just not, the rest of his team not putting that on him.
Yeah. Overall, I think the three of us are in pretty good. I think we're overall grading him pretty well. Has Coach put out his ratings yet on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com? That'll be the other vote I'm interested in seeing. But overall, I mean, I think he played all right. So, I think it's a true testament to this team being ready. Bryan says it all the time with the depth. You are as good as your depth is in Major League Soccer, and if you can change your game plan on the fly and just have a plug and play type of player, I think you're doing.
Fought Mob gave Halsey a 7.4 in the game. So by comparison, Orishano got an 8.3. If you look on the other side of the field, Sam Vines got a 6.9. So
yeah.
I mean a 7.4 is a pretty good score, especially for, again, someone of that age.
Yeah, no run and play goals. The goal for Colorado came off a set piece, and it was the guy Miazga was on. The kind of
that was a total switch off from the whole team switched off at that point. Remember, it was just after the goal is disallowed for the handball, and the referee got on the mic and did his NFL ref impression. Which, by the way, so that ref
said the wrong thing too.
Well, his English is not great. He is from Ukraine. He is actually a Ukrainian refugee. He actually refs for us in New York. He refs for Gotham Soccer in New York.
Oh yeah,
he's available. So really? he's actually on the books for us. So I am a fan of him based on that. But it was right after that, and that was a total. The team switched off, and you saw it. That header was so soft. That they gave up there. Not only does Miazga not mark him, but you have a scoring opportunity shortly thereafter where it's another set piece, and they leave the same thing open. They left that guy on the far post completely open, and luckily, he wasn't able to cash it in. But there was a clear switching off point there that I was a little frustrated that wasn't the point that you saw Noonan look at his bench and start calling guys up.
Yeah.
Because it was like, this team has fallen asleep. We just had a big swing from a possible 3-0 lead to now it's a 2-1 game. And we need to shake some things up here.
If I had one knock on the game, it's that Noonan didn't go to the bench until pretty late, other than the Halsey sub. But then again, like, who are you going to bring in? Because we had our A team on the back line. Really?
Sure. They bring in Keller. So they made 2 other windows of substitutions at that point. They had 3 guys come in at the 87th minute, Keller, Pinto, Assad, and then Bupenza came in the 90th minute. That was it. So they waited all the way till then to make any subs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading one comment here, not to throw it back too far, but Eric Turner said Halsey was lucky to have Miles covering his butt numerous times. He had some good offensive play, but for the most part, but he's still young. If Yedlin goes down in the second half, I think Powell comes in. So he's saying that Halsey's the player because of the minutes that was needed. I don't know. There was still no run of play, and yeah, I mean that is Miles. I will argue that's Miles Robinson's job. Because we play a system where your defensive backs fly forward and become wing backs, and you have to have center backs that are constantly covering. That's like saying Luka, it doesn't get back sometimes. That's true because he's so freaking far forward playing with Acosta that you need either a midfielder or center backs to sometimes scramble and make a great play. We had one of those in the first half from the other side. So I don't know. I'm gonna give the kid a flying pass. FCC, I think the biggest change from other matches we've seen, and this blew my mind because Colorado is supposed to be a good team. We were confused going into this show. We had a small discussion about it. Colorado is, this was billed as is FC Cincinnati legit. This is a true test. They're not beating up on the New Englands of the world anymore. And the possession battle absolutely insane. The end of the game makes it look lopsided, but not nearly as lopsided as it was when the first half closed. It was way worse than 59 to 41%. It was in the 60s, if I remember right. So what happened? I mean, who lit a fire under who? I mean, FCC possession-based team just with that level of it. I'm not used to seeing it.
I think the real story though is the shots. It was like 25-8, something like that. So while the possession stat, you can kind of mess with that towards the end of the game if you're sitting back and letting the other team possess. But the fact that we were able to ping so many shots, which has kind of, in my view, been a problem for us all season, that I think was the biggest thing. Colorado was happy to sit back and try to absorb, but like Jeremy pointed to that one Baird shot there in the first half where he got it off the post. I think Orishano might have had a couple of good looks. Pavel Buka had a couple good looks. Like we were looking good offensively, and then of course there's the Kubo handball situation. But like that, I think is the tale of the game. Really, is that we controlled possession, and it was in the final third, and we're able to get opportunities. In my opinion, it should have been a 4-1 win. I mean, there were a lot of good looks in this match.
I see a lot of people in chat saying it's chemistry, FC Cincinnati finally clicking a little bit. Chris Armas, I didn't play the rest of his interview, but he said that Colorado failed to stay compact, and they normally are a pretty compact team, and they were just getting really spread out, and FC Cincinnati was able to cut them up like cheese. That's my own ad lib thrown in there. He didn't really say that, but as far as the game plan, were we somehow able to make movement spread out more? Did Lucho Costa do anything fascinating that you guys saw? I mean, I'm just trying to, how can we duplicate this, going into the next week?
I just think it's hilarious that he thinks that they got spread out because my God, I'm like, these guys don't even want to play the game. I mean, if you look at it, like our wingbacks had a lot of progressive carries. I think you had Halsey with 7 and Orishano with 9. We had great opportunities when switching, field side to side. It scares the crap out of me as a youth coach seeing my right back go all the way across the field to my left back. But as pros, they're pretty talented at that, so it's kind of neat to see. And that kind of put the Rapids on their heels a little bit. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Pavel Buka connecting with Lucho. Previously it was just Orishano and Lucho, and that was it. And now it's multiple people getting on the ball. And while we give, Kubo and Baird some grief on their finishing on the night, they still were tough for the back line to handle for Colorado. So I just want to see us continue to keep running. I think when you have Pavel Buka being able to handle the offensive duties and getting the ball forward, getting the ball into better spaces for Lucho, it also allows Obi Wobodo to do what he's great at. So it just was a more complete performance. And then, of course, as you guys mentioned, we kind of got a little bit out of sorts, but then you bring in Malik Pinto. You had some young guys come in and kind of stop the bleeding, I guess you could say. So the game, while it wasn't run to perfection, I think you could say it shaped up very well for how we need to do subs, even though I think we can also say, please bring in subs like 10 minutes earlier. make us feel a little bit better.
87th seems a bit late.
Holy.
But no, dude, I totally agree with you. Buka being able to start connecting in the midfield with Lucho was something we had missed, right? I mean, Junior and Lucho hooking up in the midfield. That's what needed to be replaced, right? And finally we're starting to see that.
Yeah, do you let Lucho play Lucho ball where he's swinging back and forth on the pitch and the other team doesn't really know where to find him? I felt like we saw a little bit more of that. Bryan has Lucho doing a Lucho-esque goal here.
Sure.
Giving him the chances to be creative, though. I mean, that's something we haven't seen besides force. We've seen him try to force it.
Well, quick give and go and with Baird, and then he just rips that shot, that curler far post real quick. The keeper wasn't ready for it. Zach Steffen, seeing why we didn't take him to the World Cup. But it was a Lucho goal. It was clever. He knew what he wanted to do, and he had made up his mind. And that we haven't seen him as decisive as that early on. So I loved seeing that. You saw it numerous times last year.
And I think that's a good sign, too, that he has that trust in Baird for the give and go there. 2 weeks ago, Lucho would probably try to dribble through 8 people and take the shot himself. Now he's got that idea of, okay, now I know where Baird's going to be, and he can build off of that.
Yeah, then we had another unique thing in this match. We had the world's longest VAR search. They had 7 minutes of added time at the end of the game, and I think 4 to 5 of them came from the official looking.
Yeah, that was because it was funny because it was like the VAR called for a review pretty instantly. They were like, "Hey, go look at the monitor."
Yeah,
and he called and he did the thing and ran over there,
which means the VAR official thinks maybe it should be overturned.
Yeah, right. VAR officials felt pretty confident that something needed to be looked at. And then
it was Chris Penso was our VAR guy too, so he's probably like, take the goal away.
Take it away. Don't give it to him. But yeah, obviously, they were checking for 2 things, right? They were checking for offside and then the handball. The handball was pretty clear. I was my seats are on the complete opposite side of the field, and I could see the handball live. So I figured that was going to get called. I was hoping by some miracle it wouldn't. We had already lucked into that once earlier in the match. Ian Murphy just yanked a guy down in the box and they freaked out and nobody looked at it. And we just kept moving on with the match and it was beautiful. But I was, I had a little bit of a butt pucker going on during that moment waiting for the VAR to call down. But
shoulder to shoulder. What are you talking about?
So yeah, I mean, I guess that's why it took so long. But yeah, that took ages.
Yeah, I don't know what the discussion was. I honestly kind of wonder if it was the VAR official saw it one way and the on the field call saw it the other.
I like though that they are doing the NFL/hockey thing where they come out and say what they reviewed. I'm in favor of that change. I think they really need to work on what they put up on the screen. Though.
I was going to say, didn't they?
We had a misfire.
Yeah, because it said
two misfires.
I guess, but I think their process was like, okay, we're going to show what the original decision was, goal allowed, and then VAR.
Was that the original decision?
No,
because
the original decision wasn't goal allowed.
It was a no goal.
Yeah, the flag went up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No goal.
That's because I was like, well, then they showed on the screen then decision goal, and everyone's like, yeah, all right, we got it. And then I was like, but hold on, he's still like, this VAR check's still going on. I don't know why.
Yeah, they need to work on their graphics.
So yeah, we had a misfire.
Which intern got fired?
Oh, it was that's first week of that though, right? For us,
that was the first week of the announcing.
Yeah, there's kinks. That's all right. There's supposed to be kinks. All right, let's throw it to Coach, see what Coach thought about it in his tactical breakdown this week. I believe he's talking about the movement on the ball, and that's what changed for FC Cincinnati. Then we'll give a shout out to Beyond Exercise and get you guys back in here.
Hey, everybody, it's time for Coach's Tactical Takeaway, a segment where I'm coming in each week to talk about one tactical thing that's on my mind from the past week. And here it is for match week 10. I want to talk about ball progression because typically we've seen this team play the ball to the wingback and let the wingback figure it out. But now, after this match, I think there might actually be some definable patterns of play outside of that. First of all, the ball is being played to the outside center back, and that wing back typically still hugs the touchline and pinches back towards the ball like always. But now, instead of having that defensive central midfielder, Buka or Obi, checking hard to the ball, that player is staying towards the middle. And that creates what I call a passing window to play the ball into the forward's feet, or maybe into Lucho's feet, between the lines, splitting lines, instead of always playing into that first line of pressure. You actually see Pavel Buka a lot looking over his shoulder in this match, trying to see, can I stay out of the window and make sure that Kubo or Baird or Lucho has the room to check into that space. And what that means is that Baird and Kubo combined in this match against the Rapids for a total of 23 progressive receptions. Now, their last match against Atlanta, they combined for only 5. Even when Baird was on the bench and Bupenza was in the team, which you'd think he's better at connecting through the lines, right? Bupenza and Kubo only combined for 3 progressive receptions against Montreal and only 9 against the Red Bulls the week before that. So this is obviously, in this match, was a dedicated effort to get the ball directly into the forward's feet more often. The second pattern of play that I see is sometimes the wingback doesn't always pinch back. Sometimes the wingback pushes really high, and that leaves a gap for Lucho Acosta to drop wide onto the touchline. Sometimes Lucho gets the ball. Sometimes that ball can still go to the midfielder and then to the wingback higher up the field. And that's where Corey Baird's goal comes from, is Luca or Orishano pushing way higher, right? We've seen a steady progression from Pat Noonan's side from we have no ideas, get the ball to a wingback and hope they figure out, into these definable patterns of play. And it's still not always pretty. Sometimes they don't make the right decision. Sometimes they play it to that wingback when he's under pressure. We saw that late in the game a few times where the ball was played to Miles Robinson and he had nowhere to go with the ball. But it's getting better. What's going to be interesting to see here for me is if this is the strikers getting more involved because it's a tactical game plan, or if it's something that Corey Baird and Yuya Kubo do well because of their movement. Is this going to allow somebody like an Aaron Bupenza, if and when he wins his starting spot, to come back and have success? Or is this going to be dependent on the personnel they've been using so far? That's Coach's tactical takeaway for match week 10. If you want to get more content like this, make sure you subscribe to Talking Tactics with Coach Goff wherever you get your podcasts, or head on over to the Cincinnati Soccer Talk YouTube feed, and you can see Justin and I breaking down this match and each match every week.
Yeah, and people are really taking the Coach's show this year. I don't know why it's taken 3 or 4 years for it to really blossom, but he gets more emails than we do. Feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com has become the email Coach suggestions or questions for his show. I think people out there are starting to discover that he's got a pretty amazing tactical mind. And so if you do have questions for Coach, you can email feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Or go ahead and shoot us something for our show as well. You know, give us a little love every now and then over here on the main show. Well, we appreciate it, I swear. All right, let's give a shout out to Beyond Exercise, the local physical therapy and fitness business that helps people get active, stay active. In fact, they've helped Nick Hagelin and former Brandon Vasquez with their physical therapy and strength training needs during the offseason. Ask the fellows at Beyond Exercise about the ACL injury prevention screen, which is piloted with Nick and Brandon. Learn more at gobeyondexercise.com. And we thank them for their 2024 CST sponsorship as well. All right, Bupenza. We heard Coach bring him up again. A little bit surprised to see him on the bench a second week in a row. Pat Noonan, in his post-game comments, said absolutely nothing's wrong. Players just have to earn their spots on the pitch, and Bupenza's learning how to be a part of this team again, and finding out the roles that they need to play in 2024, and everything's fine, according to Noonan. Don't worry about it. You buy it, Jason?
No. To me, that sounded like what do they call it? A PIP, performance improvement plan. Like everything's fine. You've just got to figure out your role. Yeah, to me, that's coach speak. That I know some in the fandom was like, see, it's totally fine. I'm not buying it. I think that I'm usually the Bupenza defender, I think, on the show, but like that kind of threw me a little bit, because this guy is your designated player. You spent a ton of money to get him here, and he's not playing, and the coach is saying that he needs to kind of earn his way, learn how to be part of this team again. That ain't good coming into the summer transfer window. I'll tell you that.
Are we just waiting for Kelsey to pop in here? All of a sudden we'll have Boop and Kelsey up there, and everything will be fine. It's just Brandon Vasquez 2.0.
That's the dream, right? That's what we're hoping for. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be so simple as Kelsey comes in. First of all, that's an assumption right there that he comes in and immediately is getting a bunch of minutes, right? There's a young guy coming in. He hasn't played much lately in Donetsk. So, how soon is he going to be better at it? How soon is he going to get starts? And now when you add him in there, you add the fact that Kubo is now being used up top. You have Baird. You have Boop. You have Dotto. You have, as far as I'm concerned, Sergio Santos is still on this roster. We have 6 options for 2 spots right now, which is a good thing to have. A thing that we were a little worried about not too long ago, that we just didn't have a good amount of attacking options. We now have 6 guys that can fill those 2 spots. Do we now have a surplus where not only is Bupenza going to have to really fight to get one of those 2 spots? I just mentioned it. Does someone like Sergio Santos, does the one-time buyout get played here? Like, do we cut some of that fat now?
We love talking about that one-time buyout.
It's the best.
Now, now it's like a 2-time buyout, right? I think at least
as long as we can. You know what? Okay, so 2-time buyout. We'll go Santos, and then for good measure, we will once again buy out Vermeer, just to make sure that he's not coming back. Just double
make
check.
sure that that's paid off.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Oh, you know what? I mean, if I'm Bupenza, I think the secret and the key, because he's got skill, but the secret and the key, I think, to being FC Cincinnati's starting forward is he has just got to find a way to play Lucho's game and be buddies with Lucho, and they can't both go at each other and say each other are wrong every time a play doesn't work out. Lucho's got a little bit of an attitude, but he's earned the right. He's earned the right to throw his hands up. Even though I think, we all are like, come on, Lucho, get back in the game faster. You don't have to argue with the ref, or you don't have to lecture whoever. Bupenza does the same thing. And when they do it to each other, I mean, then that's the Boston version of how Bupenza can get back in the good graces. But it's not just Lucho.
Yeah, there is that, I think. But you saw it in the game, even in the few minutes that Bupenza was on. His teammates do not even trust to play the ball to him anymore. Corey Baird had a choice there to either make the little quick pass to his left to Boop, who was wide open on goal, or just play it straight into the center back. He chose the second option. And that might be because he doesn't trust Bupenza to do anything with the ball. The guy has struggled to do anything outside of shoot. I mean, you saw it even a little bit earlier in that match, where his first touch with the ball, he just goes ahead and just takes a shot from like 40 yards out. It was decent, and Zach Stepanek ended up having to work for it, but
yeah. If it would have hit, we would all been like, why is this guy not playing?
I do think that you have that issue as well, where you have and Lucho is probably chief among them, teammates that are just not trusting him with the ball and with the ability to finish. Because a lot of times he becomes this black hole to our offense of where the ball goes there and something bad happens to it. A bad shot's taken or he's dispossessed instantly.
I think, and I'm just throwing this out there, and I can't even remember the name of the player now, but Jeremy, being a Chelsea fan, can help me out. But aren't they trying to sell one of their big name strikers to Saudi Arabia this offseason?
Romelu Lukaku? We're trying to sell upwards of like 30 people.
Well, there was one guy. But all I'm saying, sell Boop in the offseason. You open up that DP striker, get Lukaku over here. You know.
Remember back when we said we said we couldn't even sell Brandon unless he got some trade value and got some goals under his feet, and then that happened a season and a half later. Brandon was worth a bunch of money. I don't know if you get your money back for Boop right now. Anyway,
I don't think it matters.
Oh, this will definitely be the second DP we take a loss on.
I mean, I think trading him.
Second in a row. I mean,
I think trading him to San Jose for like $4 million in GAM would be pretty all right. I'm still not out on Boop. I think he's got a ton of talent. He needs to show me something, and we are unlucky enough that we can't watch practice anymore. But when we see him in those games and when we evaluate him in those games, you got to show us something, whether you're in there for 3 minutes or you're in there for 20 minutes. I just want to see look like you give a damn, and you're at home. What a better atmosphere to do that. So we'll see if he wakes up. I think we'll get there. I mean, we need to get there.
Yeah.
We need to get there, and you never know. You introduced Kelsey, and maybe there's a different dynamic to play with Kelsey, and in practice you see something there. So I'm not going to close that book yet.
We know
I don't
he
think we're
can
closing
score.
the book, but we've now put ourselves in a situation, or he's now put himself in a situation where he's a lot further from our hopes, right?
Yeah.
Our hopes for him was to be this star that was obviously a lock to play as the starter week in, week out, and to amass all these goals.
We hoped he'd be our Cucho.
Right. He's now not even. We need to just get him. He needs to get to the level of being back in the 11 before we can get to the part of him being effective.
And we know he's capable, though, because he came in last year and he was on pace, like would have been a pace to be a top goal scorer in the league last year when he came in. So something happened between end of last year and this year where he and Lucho, I don't know.
I mean, it could be as simple as Brandon happened. The threat of Brandon not being there happened. But I will say one thing. I think it is good for Noonan, whatever Noonan is doing. It is fortunate for Noonan that he's won the 2 games he has benched Boop, because in the locker room, he can say, like, hey, we're fine. But there is no piece of me that thinks Kubo is a better number 9 than Aaron Bupenza. So, like, long term, that decision, I think, would eventually bite you. You have a defense that's steady, a midfield that's coming together, playing with Lucho a little bit better this week. Kubo didn't exactly rock my socks off with his shooting prowess either. So I think
he had a lot of good opportunities that he did not take care of.
So that spot is still Bupenza's, in my opinion, but it's whatever message we're sending, from a practice standpoint, a locker room standpoint, you've got to humble yourself and work with the team. I'm not sure what the issue is. I'm sure it'll eventually come out or be part of there. So, and maybe Pat Noonan is really just waiting on another, number 9 striker to get in there to see if he can play that same free up Bupenza ball. I don't know, but there's a lot to talk about there. And then if FC Cincinnati didn't have enough riches coming into the club, you've got Valenzuela Datto playing his heart out for FC Cincinnati too. Hat trick. I know I said that wrong, but I only get one try and it's live. So. But I mean, just crushing it down there in front of a record. They said record crowd for FC Cincinnati too. Those stands at NKU are looking full. And I don't know, those free games. Let's start. I think if FCC 2 keeps playing like that and keeps, they outperformed a very, very good Philadelphia Union team. So
And they're just coming off of a win, and heck, it's possible too, right?
yeah.
So 2 big wins for them.
That team's undefeated, by the way. Philly was undefeated coming into.
Yeah, no, that was a massive win for them to get that. I mean, Philly's one of the. I mean, they're Philly. They've had one of the better pipelines in MLS for how long now? And for an FC side that has been a bit of a gong show since its inception. They're stringing together some fantastic results.
Yeah. That's always good to know too, that you have somebody that you could possibly bring in to fill the void, especially in a league like MLS where you can't just go out and buy a bench player like you can around the world. And you see like Philly's just made a name for themselves by bringing up youth, but Columbus has brought in some people, and the way, I don't want to give the crew any credit, but the way they do it is the way I think teams should do it, where you kind of have a core of your star players, but you're able to bring in these academy people to kind of fill those roles, and hopefully one of them pays off and becomes a star. But it's great to see Dotto, playing well, and hopefully we can get him on the pitch maybe this weekend or in the near future.
The guy would get more minutes if he just didn't happen to be behind the freaking MLS league MVP. What do you do in this situation?
Tell Lucho, hey man, you got to take 10 minutes off. I know it might kill you, but we're gonna put Dotto in, and we're gonna put Boop in to close out this match.
The league MVP there refuses to let anybody else play. Spot.
He's not getting any younger. He needs to take some time every now and then. It's okay to take some time.
We've seen him come at the end of matches. I just don't think that's enough. He needs to get some real minutes. And if we've seen, I want a couple more matches to just solidify it. But he might, and I've seen this been kicked around on Twitter and Reddit this week. He might be too good for MLS Next Pro. And if that's the case, where are you guys open to shipping him
loan him out?
Yeah. Are you open to loaning him out?
No, you keep him on the roster, and you find a way to get him minutes with the big boys team.
Yeah, that ability to add him to the bench on a weekly basis for the first team and have him possibly get in there and just be another option for Pat. I think you definitely keep him around.
All right. I saw somebody say something about charging OJ. He said when FCC starts charging to get in, that would suck. But if the crowd keeps showing up, they're gonna have to, or at least limit the gate a little bit.
Make it $5, something real cheap.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't. I think it is the coolest thing. If you're free, on Saturday or Sunday, you can go over there and sit down and get a cheap beer and watch the young guys for free. I mean, it's pretty cool. People are catching on that it's a fun time. So, what'd you want to respond to?
Yeah. So hold on. I wanted to hit. I saw in the comments, Eric Turner he questioned my disdain for Bupenza's choice there of just firing a shot from deep. The reason why that was a bad idea, he could have possibly got it past Zach Steffen very easily. Keeper was out of position, sure. We were in stoppage time at that point. We needed to possess the ball, and that's something that Boop kind of struggles to do, is just kind of possess the ball, a little hold-up play. That's what we needed in that moment. Instead, he makes that shot, Steffen gets it, and the ball is immediately back the other way.
Yeah.
And Colorado's breaking, and they got all the way down the other side. So that is why I just thought that was just a poor choice on him, because there's other times where that was a good idea. It's a 1-goal game. It's late. We're trying to see this thing out. That's not the time to be doing that.
Go to the corner.
Yeah, take it to the corner. Do something.
Yeah, I mean, we did play. I think we played overall fairly time wasty in a good way towards the end of that one. I'll tell you what, I'm glad we didn't do. I'm glad we just didn't go down there and get peppered for the last 20 minutes plus 7. That was good to see a nice change of pace where we kept possession and stayed with it. Brian, you thought there was a little bit less work for Obi in this one due to.
Oh, we're going back to the game?
Yeah.
Brian's like, well, I thought we were talking about something else now.
Well,
No,
I
can
just
pass on that, bud.
All right. I wanted to dive into Obi a little bit because, well, we'll save it for next week. We'll see if the trend continues. How about that?
I just don't want to get hurt and staying in control of games, and I think it's going to be relying on Pavel and picking the right times to go forward, and same thing with Obi.
Well, Brian really wants to talk about his MLS to Indy, I think.
Oh, I'm lined up for that.
Go ahead, Jason. I'll let
Friday news dump.
I took too much time talking last week, so I'll let Jason go.
So if you were living under a rock and didn't see the news, little backstory. Indy 11, we all know them. We all admire them. They're our neighbors in Indy, our friendly rivals. Their owner and his real estate group that he was working with had come up with a plan to build a soccer-specific stadium in Indianapolis right next to where the Colts play. It's an old industrial site. Also happens to be a graveyard from the 1800s.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of questions about this site to begin with.
Nothing ever goes wrong from building on top of a burial ground.
Actually, TQL in that area was a Native American mound.
I think it was Music Hall.
It was the burial of the Cincinnati Saints. So that's where they were.
Yeah, that too.
I'm allowed to make that joke. I work.
You are. But anyway, there were a lot of questions about this stadium, and the plan was to build a 20,000 seat stadium for USL that was very nice. So they had a deal with the city. The city was going to put up something like $800 million or a bunch of money for it. Friday, I think it was around Thursday or Friday, we start hearing rumors that the owner of Keystone Group, who is the real estate company, said that the city was backing out of the deal for the stadium and the mayor was going to make a big announcement. Mayor comes on Thursday, I think it was.
Yeah, Thursday, like late, like 4 p.m. or something.
Does a press conference, basically says, I've gone to New York, I've met with MLS, and I'm announcing that we kind of have an ownership group together, and I want us to do an MLS bid for Indianapolis.
Yeah, he said he would be leading the efforts for an application submission for an expansion team. By the way, that Thursday, the day he announced it, was also Indy 11's 11th birthday.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Happy birthday, guys. Where someone's trying to kill you. The mayor is trying to kill you.
Well, it's definitely a nice
and here's
situation, right? Because the whole money was presented to the state as Indy 11 Park.
Right.
Their name's even in it, right?
Yeah, it was going to be called 11 Park, and it was going to be right there by Lucas Oil. Apparently, the mayor is now looking at a completely different location, possibly.
Well, and apparently the site needed industrial remediation because it was like an industrial site. Plus, when they did core sampling for the stadium, because you got to do that, they pulled up human remains, like a lot of them, because it used to be a graveyard. So that's going to be added expense because you got to clear, But I want to get to the point where soccer Twitter, which you should avoid with every fiber of your being, lower league people lost their ever-loving minds over this situation. And I'm just going to say, because Jeremy and I probably disagree on this, I don't see this as anyone trying to kill Indy 11. I see this as, here in Cincinnati, we're trying to build a new arena. Jeff Birding and somebody went to meet with NHL and said, hey, we're building a new arena. Give us a team. That's all I see it as. And there's nothing that says someone can't buy Indy 11 from their really shady owner who has real issues and move them up. I don't see it as something real.
That's not going to happen because the USL buyout is just too expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like
$8?
$25 to $30 million now to
To
buy
buy-
your team out.
That's
To
somebody
buy a
mute
team
Boston.
out.
Huh?
Somebody mute Boston.
No, I'm not. Look it up. I'm not kidding about this.
I mean,
USL has
the
made it
application
very
is
hard.
Trump change.
the
$500
the
billion
expansion fee is going to be
organization.
the expansion fee is going to be $750 million. So I think
Yeah.
40 million to
You
tell
have to
USL to pound
you could-
sand is not going to be much.
You could still do Indy 11, but you would have to change something about that. Indianapolis
Well,
11, Indy 11.
Right.
Just
We saw this with Nashville. They
Yeah.
had to slightly do that, right?
Yeah,
We
you have
saw
to
it with
change your
FC
logo.
Cincinnati. On
we saw it with
paper,
FC
we are.
Everybody avoids that ridiculous USL fee, and so you just change the logo and you change the. But I don't think Indy fans want to change their logo and change their name.
Well, nobody does.
Who
Minnesota
cares?
didn't.
Dude,
We
at the end of the,
Landing. Let's go
at
with
the end
list.
of the day, at the end of the day, people are saying, this kills the growth of soccer. No, it enhances the growth. It's only more money going into it. I mean, are there different ways of growing? Absolutely. But I think having
There's less
another
predatorial ways of growing, but this is still
Sure.
definitely growth. And
but
it's-
everybody
and
does
it's
it.
growth that accelerates, right?
it's
Yeah.
it's the same crap that that I've brought on here 18,000 times. USL did the same thing to Chattanooga. MLS is doing well.
USL did the same thing to the Saints.
Here's the
Dude.
real thing. This is not USL versus Major League Soccer. This is a mayor going, I don't want what he views. He's not a soccer guy.
Because
He goes, I don't
Look at that
want
haircut. That guy does not like soccer.
minor league soccer in my town. If I'm going to build a 20,000 plus seat stadium, the guy goes, why on earth would I not go for the top division in the United States? That's
No, he's right.
a political move.
there's a lot going on
There's
there.
that Indy 11 as they sit. They still don't have the money to be
No.
MLS. They don't have MLS money.
It is a real estate deal that has a soccer stadium, not a soccer stadium that is developing a whole real estate pitch. It's
and that was the
literally
other thing.
all about making the owner. I guess TKL too.
Exactly. That was the other thing, though, with this 11 park thing, is it was going. They were asking for, I think it was like it was like $1 billion.
Yeah, it was
investment
nearly
for
$1
the
billion.
whole-
Yeah.
because it was going to be this whole entertainment district with, anchored by this stadium.
Yeah.
Like the
They were
banks.
asking for
It's
money
the
that
banks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apartments.
exactly the whole
Shopping.
thing.
But hey, at the end of the day, I would love Indianapolis in Major League Soccer. I
Yeah.
want more local rivalries. I want more engagement. It would help unify Chicago, I think. I mean, it's just, I
Well-
still think we can be a 40-team top division.
No matter how Indy gets there, it obviously
Detroit.
benefits Cincinnati to be there, for Indy to be there.
It's interesting though, if you follow like the Brickyard Battalion, which is their supporters group, and they were formed before Indy 11 was even a thing.
Mhm.
They're being very like, yeah, we're going to support whatever club is here.
Yeah, they put out a statement that was that some of the non-MLS, anti-MLS hardos were
Yeah.
called as groveling and they were just trying to play politics. They're totally on MLS now. Like, yeah, well, they want to support their team, and sadly that means their team might take a different form, but it'll be in a
Yeah.
form that's in MLS, which we can have all the conversations we want about how MLS is structured and blah 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 and the rules, and we do it cooler down here in USL. This is the big leagues. This is what a real league looks like. This is real transfers. This is not some of the Mickey Mouse crap that goes on in lower league. That is fun and it's cool to cosplay about it, but it's. I mean, what are we even saying here?
Now the truth
MLS
is, DJ had a really good set of tweets about this. Your co-host on the wrong side, actually.
I've heard of them. Yep.
But he said, and he's obviously he's off. DJ, and I love the man. He's a romantic for the game
He is.
and all divisions, and he's not loyal to any division, in my opinion. He's just loyal to a pure form of soccer. But what he said at the end of it, because he's a realist, was like, this is how the business kind of gets done in the US. And 98, he didn't, this is me adding on to it now, but 98 out of 100 Indianapolis fans are going to show up and fill that stadium, because we've already seen it in St. Louis. We've seen it in Charlotte. There is literally just blueprint after blueprint. The same thing's going to happen in San Diego, where There's no way on earth that this new MLS team doesn't absolutely crush the former attendance of the Loyal. And it's because not us. The average American in these cities goes, I want to go check out this new major league team in town. They don't go, I want to go check out the new USL team in town.
Kevin Michael says, would you rather have Louisville or Indy? I think I would rather have Louisville, but I don't
Why?
think that they would sustain it to the level that Indy will. I just
Porque
like
no los dos. Did
I
say that
love
right?
I love Louisville. I love how they've gone about a lot of their things. They're financing their taking care of their stadium situation and building that D2 route. I think it's I don't see that market as a growth market for Major League Soccer like Indianapolis would be. I mean, Indianapolis is one of the premier cities in the Midwest, definitely in Indiana and
You're really
Indy is a
hyping up.
big league market.
Yes.
Louisville is a cool
is
place
not.
to go to drink bourbon, but it is not a big league market.
Be there tomorrow.
If
Louisville
Indy-
did look at buying RSL when the owner was forced to sell and moving the team to Louisville, and the price was way too high for any ownership group they could get.
Yeah, the real crux is that they built too small of a stadium, so I don't even view it as a realistic thing. They went in if they wanted a real shot, they had to go 20,000 plus seats, and they didn't.
I think it's designed to expand.
It is,
but still, yeah.
It's.
I mean, it does. If MLS comes to Indianapolis, whether it is Indy 11 or not, it will kill whatever USL team is there. That's just business. Like it's very hard to operate two soccer league like teams, men's soccer teams in the same city, and that sucks for USL. But USL needs to expand to like Cleveland and Baltimore, and they also need to go a year without having one of their championship teams cease operations too. Like there's a lot of stuff that they need to get figured out before they need to worry about Indy possibly leaving.
Jay pops in here. Plot twist: Indy bypasses to build an MLS caliber stadium, then gets screwed over by MLS. Indy 11 gets a free stadium. I chuckle at the humor there. It is very possible MLS actually passes on Indy, and I actually think, Jay, there's a more realistic chance that no stadium gets built at all because of it. There is no way MLS will pass on Indy if Indy builds a 25,000 plus seat stadium. There's not enough owners lining up to build $500,000 stadiums and pay $350 million expansion fees.
It's $1 billion, not $500,000.
Oh yeah, $500 million. You're correct.
God, you're an accountant here, dude.
Yeah, but it's $1 billion after you get all the investment in. You build your training facility, you build your stadium, you pay your expansion fee, you hire your coaches, you hire your players. It is all the infrastructure you need to run a club. It's $1 billion investment, and I know that there's a lot of teams vying for it, but we've all seen firsthand how hard it is. It took there's only 2 to 3 families in Cincinnati that can pull it off, and I think the same is in most cities.
And even here in this city, that family had to go and get other people's money as well.
Yeah.
And so, like, if Indy 11 were to somehow be that team that becomes MLS, that ownership group basically will have to become minority owner of their own club because they will have to bring in that much more
very,
ownership.
very low minority. Yeah.
And that happened in Nashville. That happened. The USL ownership group became a minority owner. Obviously, there was also the really weird thing where like they had the supporters could own a stake when they were a USL team, and obviously that then got diluted to beyond nothing. When they became a MLS team.
More and more, I think it's harder for it to be pulled off than it is not. Like Sacramento completely fell apart because it was the same situation. Minority owner looking for a majority. Everybody's looking for a majority owner. And in fact,
we take their minority owner?
We did. One of them. But
Meg Whitman, right, was
but
supposed to be in that ownership group, right?
Their actual minority owner that still runs the USL team is the guy that's been searching for one.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about how many teams MLS will allow on Facebook right now. I don't think it matters because MLS is going to make an MLS League 2, MLS 2 league that's in Division 2. That they've already publicly said that that's the goal.
I mean,
And
like get to 40 teams and then split into a.
There's going to be.
division
There's
kind of thing.
in my mind, there's going to be a second division of American soccer MLS that competes with USL Championship.
And then you
That's
buy
the
out what's left of USL and make that your third division.
Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there we
or
go.
you buy out
There's
USL
your
and
pro
make that
rail,
your
you
third.
dorks.
We're never getting that. I don't think.
Mm.
I think 32. To answer Kevin's question, I think 32 is that nice round number that all major leagues in the United States are looking to go to. Because by that point, you've hit just about every major market. And if you think about it, there's not a lot of markets MLS can expand to at this point. I know in this reporting about Indy 11, Tampa and our friends up in Detroit were mentioned.
Tampa, Phoenix, Detroit.
After that,
Las
what do you got?
Vegas,
And that's going to be
Pittsburgh,
who gets their act together first. is
Cleveland,
who's going to get a team. Yeah.
Baltimore.
They're never going to put a third team in Ohio. Like you got to start. Like they're not going to
Well,
put
you
a
go to
third
the
team in
second team.
Florida.
You still have so many big markets out there.
Yeah, I
And
think
you have to
I
buy.
think
You have to
32.
buy eyeballs. You have to buy eyeballs. You need 40 teams in Major League Soccer.
Why?
You have to buy eyeballs. You have to have the eyeballs. That's how you do it in soccer.
Yeah.
It's not.
I
Nobody from Cleveland gives a rat's patootie about the Columbus Crew.
no, but very few people in Columbus get a rat's patootie. About Columbus.
He went there.
I just tried to
A
go
lot of
say
patootie talk
patootie.
going on,
I
boys.
like patootie.
the market penetration is for the Crew is abysmal, considering
Well,
how good they've been.
Well, we understand that because we wouldn't exist if the market penetration was great. But
You talking about the team that had a 20-year head start to make themselves the team in Ohio and didn't do that at all?
Yeah,
Talking about those guys?
I would love to see 40 teams because then you could do like a NL AL situation where like you never play really unless it's Leagues Cup or All-Star game, and have like soccer bowl like they used to with NASL, and you could just it'd be a nice novelty. Plus, we'd be merging with Liga MX by.
I was trying to work in a joke on Twitter earlier this week with it. If Indy does join MLS, that we need to work in some sort of soccer bowl reference. It's too rich of history, right? Because all history is important.
oh man, I do feel for you though. If you're an Indy 11 fan, and we have some that are kind of FCC fans as well, joint fans. I do feel for you. I think if it's Cincinnati, we'd all be a little bit hurt if it was our team that theoretically may not exist in a couple years. But at the same time, you have to somewhere deep down be excited that
FC Cincinnati USL does not exist anymore, but
Yeah.
but it's the exact same thing.
They are separate
Yeah.
Wikipedia entries.
Exact same thing.
mhm.
I will give them heads up props today though. They did acknowledge the USL when they were talking about Lucho being leading goal scorer.
I
In-
was actually a
in-
little surprised when they put that, like even
Yeah.
when like MLS like tweeted out like the graphic on that one.
Yeah. But overall,
See
let me tell
Jimmy's
you.
name on there.
Let me tell you what, there is something great about the reassurance of your city getting a Major League Soccer club, knowing you're going to have the best of the best teams coming. You're going to have some great players coming. You're going to have a permanence that Indy 11 actually has lacked. They've bounced from a college stadium to an NFL stadium that was way too big for them back
Back to the college stadium.
the fans aren't very happy with the situation and the bathrooms and the concessions. And I mean, we had that a little bit. Nippert was a great place to be, but it never was our home. There's no permanence to it. And so you get that permanence if you get a Major League Soccer team. So if you are an Indy fan and you're a little bit worried, I just do want to tell you that part feels nice. When I go to bed at night, I know FC Cincinnati will exist tomorrow and the next year and the next year and the next year after that. So I don't have any worries there. All right, we got to get into your final thoughts. We went real late today, but I think it's been a fun one. We start to dive into a little bit of lower league soccer, and all of a sudden those old memories come back out, and you hear us get fired up. Bryan, you've been a little bit quieter tonight, so we'll throw it to you.
Oh, it's just nice to have be in the presence of these two fine gentlemen. So don't have to do too much because they kill it. So
Oh, do go on.
huh?
Oh, do
Say
go
more.
on.
Say
I
more.
love you guys. Good beard action too. It's a good beard night, except you, Boston. No, just glad to be here. My son's soccer season's running out, so maybe we'll watch a little bit more FCC. Hopefully, get down to some FCC2 games. So, yeah, nothing too crazy.
All right, Jason. Final thoughts? Anything you want to give to the people out there?
He is a St. Louis City fan, and I don't agree with him on everything. But check out the Soccer Zombie on both the Dying Husk, that is Twitter, and on YouTube. He does soccer vlogs, and he just got back from. He covered Indy at 11 this past weekend, but he did just do like a whirlwind tour of the UK, going to soccer matches. It was kind of cool. So love to see content creators out there. Check him out, the Soccer Zombie.
I think I will. I did not know about this one. All right, Lance.
No notes. Scott, no, you guys are great. Everything was perfect show. Nothing went wrong. Nobody fought with an audience member. It was good.
Wow, I didn't take too long to start the thing with the videos and whatnot.
Flawless. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
It'll be flawless for the audio podcaster listener because I get to
5 stars.
Trim it down. But no, thanks for listening. We appreciate you all. Hope you enjoyed the extra 17 minutes over normal. Thanks to all of our Patreon supporters out there. We appreciate each and every one of you for keeping CST and our 3 podcasts and our website free for everybody to use. Our roster tracker, I'm sure, is getting lots of activity again this time of year. Anytime we start talking players and dollars, that's like breaks our website on that page, for example. And but stay tuned. There's going to be some fun articles coming out this week, and we hope that so far you've enjoyed pretty daily active content over there. So if you haven't checked it out, that's the place to be when there's no podcast to listen to. And we will see you again next week.